What's going on, boys? This is RJ Game News USA here, back today with another video. And today I'm going to do a review of Marshals Season 1. It is a Yellowstone spinoff, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it, but we're going to listen to this clip from a YouTuber named Mr. Chocolate, because I could see some area of disagreement on what we think about Marshals Season 1. So shout out to Mr. Chocolate. Subscribe to this channel. Go to subscribe to Mr. Chocolate. Because even though we have a difference of opinion, I think his videos are pretty nice. And he's a small YouTuber, and let's support small YouTubers. So, that being said, we're going to play his video. It's in fair use. I'm going to stop and comment on things that he says. But first, let me give my opinion of Marshals really quickly, my base opinion of it. I think it's a good spinoff. I don't think it's the greatest. I do think it's the least impressive of all the Yellowstone stories, but he's using the word biggest disappointment. And I don't think Marshals is a disappointment. It's a very solid 8 out of 10 TV show. Even if it wasn't connected to the Yellowstone universe and I happen to stumble across it, I would be interested. So it's a good show. It's just even great. It's just not amazing or a masterpiece like the rest of Yellowstone is, because every other season of Yellowstone and the spinoffs are at least a 9 out of 10, including 1883 and 1923, and the jury's still out how good Dutton Ranch will be, but anything Taylor Sheridan touches is gold typically, and I think Marshals is good as well. So, without further ado, let's get started with Mr. Chocolate's video, and we will discuss disagreements.
Alrighty, what is up, Chocolatiers? While I'm getting ready to hopefully go see Obsession.
By the way, he's wearing an Obsession t-shirt. That's my all-time favorite movie, so I already like this guy.
Again this weekend, absolutely love that movie so much. Reviews up on the channel. There's no impressions. YouTube's not pushing it. Go watch it. Thank you. So we're talking about Marshals Season 1. That implies there's going to be more seasons of this show. So this is coming to us in the Sheridan universe, and I was going to be more negative than positive, clearly, based on the tone of my voice, but then I watched Dutton Ranch, and I was like, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That show is awesome. At the time of recording this, there's only been 3 episodes of that dropped, and it's awesome. It's so good.
Dutton Ranch, I actually don't think it's that much better than Marshall so far, but we'll see. I expected Dutton Ranch to be like Yellowstone continued, and to me it hasn't quite hit that limit.
Remember that they have a son, unlike Casey Dutton, who completely forgets that he has a child. So let's get into that. So the premise of this show is that Casey joins the Marshal forces because Logan Marshall Green plays like his friend who used to be in the military with him, like used to be like his, captain commander or whatever. And Logan Marshall Green's on this show, he played in Corey, he's played in movies like Upgrade. If you go watch all that stuff I just mentioned, then you understand why I think he's an underrated actor. He should be definitely bigger than what he is. He's such a great actor. Even in this show, given the BS that they give him to work with, he is so good in this. And Casey's good in this.
Okay.
I'm not mad about the acting. It is the writing, it is where we go with the characters and everything else. So I'm going to go and throw this out here too. Most people don't even watch reviews to actually know about the show, unless you just like the person reviewing it. As we've seen from my numbers, not much of that's happening. But I want to throw out there there's a spoiler warning here, because I will spoil the intro stuff, maybe some stuff where it goes. I don't think you care, but I'm letting you know.
No,
so
I've seen the whole season.
So, for starters, Casey Dutton, it starts off with his wife, Monica. She's dead. No screen time, not even a picture on Remember. She's dead.
So, I'll explain something. I don't know what the particular story is behind that actress who played Monica, but typically, if you're going to have a person just completely be absent from a spinoff, then clearly they weren't able to hire her. Whether she didn't want to do the show or they disagreed on numbers, they couldn't bring her in, so they had to kill her off. I don't believe for a second it was the creative decision to go kill her off screen and not have her on. There must be an issue we don't know for why she wasn't on. And I at least appreciate them for not doing a stupid double that won't look like the person anyway, because that's just worse. So, I know, I thought it was dumb too how she was killed off, but usually when you're starting up a new spinoff or something, if somebody isn't there, there's a reason they're not there, and they have to write the character off. So you gotta forgive them for that.
It's dead. Weird that they chose to do this, and apparently, if you believe them, I don't know if I do, apparently this was written this way on purpose. I was like, why would you?
I don't believe that.
Once again, compared to Dutton Ranch, a superior show on every other level. All the kids there, Beth and Rip are there. They talk about previous things. It just doesn't make any sense. So then I was like, okay, this sucks. I like Monica as a character. Friends I talked to that like the Yellowstone stuff, they're like, well, it really doesn't matter. I really didn't like Monica. And I was like, okay, whatever. Throw that out there.
I don't believe for a second that they had Monica wrote off the show on purpose. Like it was planned. Like, I really believe they just couldn't get the actress signed on.
That's fine. Let's just get locking this show. We get an okay first episode, then we get to the rest of the season. Awful TV. So this is a procedural drama airing on CBS. Now, if you don't know what that means, we talk about that a lot lately with covering shows like Tracker, covering shows like Fire Country, Sheriff Country, other stuff like that. Procedural dramas, what I call them that, are basically kind of like a modern day soap opera, kind of like an NCIS, something like that, where like you have like an overarching story that might only have actual 2 or 3 episodes worth of story time to it. Meanwhile, in between stuff is kind of like that filler. So like imagine like watching something like The Flash where it's like, you've got to stop.
It's villain of the week. You know, Outer Limits did this a lot. You know, it's not like it's Twilight Zone where it's completely a different setting and characters. It's not, you know what I mean? It's villain of the week, essentially. A lot of shows used to do the villain of the week model. It fell out of favor. Now they do this hybrid model where there's an overarching story in a season and there's a villain of the week. Supernatural is very famous for doing this, and Supernatural is one of my all-time favorite shows, so I didn't mind this villain of the week / overarching story idea.
Zoom. And then like every other episode, it's like, I'm fighting the Weather Wizard. Here's Pickle Man. That's what you get. So in this, you're getting like a lot of random cases. You're getting a lot of stuff like that. And then at the end of each episode, maybe 30 seconds, you're like building to like a story. That's what procedural shows do. That's why it's aired on CBS, not Paramount Plus. Makes sense because they kind of do it as insignificant as far as a show. But they can definitely get some CBS viewers, people that still got cable and stuff like that, and then people like me have to watch it on the next day, Mondays, on Paramount Plus. And so, let's get on to Tate. Where is he? Where is he at? Now, I'm throwing this out here. I don't care about Tate. He's not like my character. It's like I'm ride or die. I don't care. It just doesn't make sense. Like, there's so many scenes, especially towards the end of the season, where, like, the whole crew will be there at Casey's, like, little lodge, house, whatever, out in the bayou. And, like, they're chilling or whatever. They're, like, drinking by the campfire and stuff. I'm like, where is his son? Where is he? Half of these scenes I just mentioned don't even name off where he's at. Now, earlier in the season, they thought about this. Like, damn, we got to write this in here because you don't want people like Mr. Chocolate to think about it. And so they're like, well, he's at his grandpa's. Casey does not like his son. He does not care. Now, I liked where they were going.
Now, look, I think what's going on here with Tate is Tate became really independent, especially after his mother died. And I think that's what's going on there. That and Tate doesn't really fit in with the rest of the show of Casey hanging out with the Marshall crew and all that. He doesn't really seem to fit into hanging out with them all the time. So I think it's fine that they wrote him to be a little more off the show than he is. Remember, they're not showing Casey's entire day. They're only showing parts of his day. You have to assume he sees his son for the parts of the day that he's not on screen. And for whatever reason, the director decided it wasn't worth to see the interactions. That being said, Mr. Chocolate here, unfortunately, is forgetting to point out some of the most deepest interactions in the season were involving Tate and Casey. Like, especially at Monica's little anniversary funeral and whatnot. They've definitely had some monologue moments together between the two. And it seems like every time they're both on screen together, it's an emotional moment. So I think that's why they keep it that way, and they don't want to enter idle conversation between the two, especially because they want more of that camaraderie and idle conversation going on with the rest of the Marshall unit going on between Casey and them, and also building up Casey's new love interest, which would be awkward for Tate to see in front of him.
Going with this, Tate very much a mama's boy. Casey very strong-willed, like the way he acts. Clearly, he still misses his wife too. They're both grieving in different ways, right? And I really like the dynamic where they were going with that, because like, oh man, like they're kind of like butting heads. He's at that age, especially this and that, whatever. You would think that would be good writing, and then they drop it. They drop it just to cut him out of the show, and this is where I get. For me, if you remove Yellowstone from it, it's a fine show. It's a nice little procedural. It's a Marshall show. You got some good shootouts out there. You got some decent action. You got some characters you don't really care about, but it's for a CBS procedural.
I'll say this, I actually started to care a lot about the other Marshall characters that were in there. Like, the rest of the team, you know, even like the daughter that's bartending as well, the agent that got kidnapped, the agent that's got a gambling problem, the Indian-looking agent. Now, I'm really bad with names, so forgive me on the names, but I'm just saying, I really started to enjoy the camaraderie of the team more than anything else, and I think that's the vibe they're going for.
Probably be like a 6, maybe a 7, something like that, maybe 7.5. It's fine.
Well, look, hey, now, if you're getting up to 7.5, I wouldn't call it a big disappointment. I'm at an 8. So, I mean, I'm saying we're not disagreeing too much. I think your rhetoric's slightly negative for what it is, though. 7.5 wouldn't get this negative of rhetoric. You're acting more like it's a 5 or a 6.
But when you add in the fact that it's a Yellowstone show, is a slap in the face. 1923 is better. 1883 is better.
Yes.
The Yellowstone, even with those last couple seasons, it's still better.
Yes.
Dutton Ranch it's the limit right now. It is significantly better.
I don't know about that.
And then
I don't know about that yet.
People didn't like, which I know it's not tied in, but like even like Landman, I'll throw that stuff in there. Those shows are still better. And
oh yeah, Landman's really good. I've been watching Landman. This is not better. Madison's weaker than that's a Taylor Sheridan show too. The Madison is good. That's a 7.5 show. Okay, that's a bottom barrel Taylor Sheridan quality. Even the Madison's a 7.5. Marshals is better than Madison.
And Landman had a rocky season too. And even with that, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, dude, what is there good about this show? I watch this show with somebody else, and like half the time they're like, "You might watch this." I'm like, "No, I'm finishing this season." I used to watch this after tracker. I had to start playing this before because I can't go to bed at night watching this. Like, this is the last thing I see. I was like, what if I die? Like, what if I don't wake up anymore? That's the last thing I saw, an episode of Marshals. Now, I also want you to know this too. TV I don't take lightly like I do my movies, but I grade them a little bit differently. It has been years. I don't think I've ever talked about a show negatively on this channel ever. Never, ever.
Wow.
Even The Boys recently, people were like, oh, I was like, it's got some good character moments, got some decent episodes in there. I'm like, it's okay. No, even Stranger Things final season, I thought I was going to hate on that, got some good views for me. Even that, I was like, it's okay. This is abysmal. This is a stain on the Yellowstone.
It's not abysmal.
Legacy. And I get people
it's not a stain.
They get up in arms about this show. They worship it like the second coming. When it comes to Yellowstone stuff, the Yellowstone fandom, they are out there representing, wearing their Yellowstone shirts. I don't want you to come at me. Hopefully you think the same. Maybe we're thinking the same.
Nah.
I just don't know in what world that you go home and watch Dutton Ranch, watch an old episode of Yellowstone, this and that, whatever, and play this and go, oh. It's not even close to the same quality. It literally has a Yellowstone tag on it just so that way for marketing purposes. Like when
I don't know, man. A Dutton Ranch is just getting started for me. I'm a few episodes in. I think Landman's better than that. I don't know. Dutton Ranch, the jury's out on Dutton Ranch. I don't even want to discuss Dutton Ranch until the season's over. But, one of the Yellowstone shows has to be the worst, and obviously Marshals is, compared to 1923, 1883, or Yellowstone proper. But And Dutton Ranch may be better. We'll see. But that being said, it's just like saying what's the worst Smash Bros. Or what's the worst Mario Kart. Even the worst of a really excellent series is pretty damn good. Okay? Let's keep that in mind.
But I go on Paramount Plus on Mondays, Tracker's number 3, and I'm like, how the hell? Because this is number 2. That doesn't even... It makes sense, though, because the Yellowstone fans are out there. People like me still had to finish first season. That also didn't help. But it just doesn't make... Like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. That we can have a show written so poorly. And
it's
like
not
I
written
said,
that
it would have
bad.
been fine if you just remove the Yellowstone elements. You just have a guy who's been through, you know, like his wife died, and he's at odds with his son, who's not going to show up in the show, clearly. And you've got all this stuff happening, but then he ends up going to work for the Marshals. And I was like, okay, cool. That would be a better show than what we get here. Instead, they're like in-tied with this case. He just kind of acts like a bumbling idiot half the times. I will throw it out there, at least him and Logan Marshall Green, I can tolerate them.
There's
I like
chemistry there.
At least their acting's decent. I don't like anybody else in the show.
Really?
2 female characters, the Indian guy that's with them, I don't like any of them.
No, okay. I think one of the more intriguing background stories is the older white female agent who is getting into gambling issues. I think that's an interesting story. And I do like the Indian dude. I think he's cool.
At one point earlier on, the Indian guy, I don't know how he got on the Marshals team. I'm taking it he didn't shoot a gun. He's never shot a gun before. There's a whole scene of Casey like, oh, I'm like, how'd you become a marshal? Then the 2 female characters, I'll give them this. The black girl, she's okay.
Yeah.
She actually grew on me in this season. She has a relationship with
Yeah,
one
she's
guy
got
that's
some
friends
sass
with
to
Casey.
her.
She grew on me. The other woman, hell no. She was in Hi-Fi Surf, and I actually liked her in that. I can't think of the actress's name. She's not a bad actress. But in this show, she's like one of the most insufferable characters ever. She's like this eye roll thingy, this, that. And I was like, did they want us to like these characters? Apparently not. Apparently not. The villains are very weak. There's one, Abraham from Walking Dead has like a decent arc and actually thought that storyline was not bad. I think the premiere's not bad either.
Right.
And the finale's okay. I don't love it, but it's okay. So there's definitely some stuff to like here. I don't want to let this be...
I think this show could go one of 2 paths. It could definitely get better in Season 2, or it could flop on its face in Season 2. But overall, you guys get the gist of this. You guys got my thoughts. You got Mr. Chocolate's thoughts on this show. We'll see where you all land on it. Personally, I think his rhetoric about the show makes it sound like a 6. I think it's an 8 out of 10. So, I don't know. If you guys seen Marshall Season 1, let me know in the comments below. But until next time, this is your boy RJ signing out. Have a good one.